Do people want the truth or not? Sometimes I don't know. You know, as people look at this Cyrus Belton Rick Chow case and they're trying to make a determination, they're only looking at the last couple seconds of it. That's all they're analyzing. They're saying, hey, did this guy have a fear of his life or his son's life from this 14-year-old? That's it, that's all. And they're packing up and they're going home after that. But see, me, what I want us to look at in this video is the fact that they suppressed evidence, and that suppressed evidence is the boogeyman in the room, not the jury, definitely not Cyrus Belton, but that evidence. See, right now they got it framed like we got this poor shop owner who's always under fire, and the mean blacks are trying to rob him all the time, and he's just trying to make a living, and him and his son were scared out of their minds. So they reacted as best they could in the moment. And if you allow that narrative to be the only narrative that's laying there, well, of course, juries might be swayed by that. But what if there's more evidence that points to something a little bit different, that shows a pattern of Mr. Chow's activities over the years that show this guy, he was destined to take a life. He'd been trying to take a life since 2013. He finally succeeded, and you gave him a pass. The suppressed evidence is why. Let's watch this clip together. For anybody who has not seen the film, there'll be no shooting in this, but it will show you what led up to that fateful moment. Let's go.
Put on the ice cream chest. Yep.
A bottle of water. That's what they're chasing him for. Because they think he took a bottle of water. He didn't threaten anybody. He didn't approach anybody. He didn't intimidate anybody. He didn't do anything except leave their store. And for that, he got chased beyond a football field. And then they say they had to shoot him because they were afraid of him. Now, the defense convinced the jury that poor Rick Chow, just a poor retailer, just trying to make it happen in the big city where a bunch of bad people robbed from him, and he has to protect his way of life. And more than that, on this particular day, he had to protect his son because his son was under threat of this 14-year-old, that this 14-year-old was about to take his life. And Mr. Chow swooped in and saved the day by doing what he felt he had to do to save his son from being shot by the 14-year-old. So that's all the jury had to go on, was the witness statement by the son saying he saw the young man with a gun and he pointed the gun at him. And he was so afraid he told his dad, and his dad protected him. Well, what if I told you there was more to the story that they didn't want the jury to know about? What if I told you that the judge had our crucial evidence that puts a totally different complexion on this? What if I told you in 2013 a similar situation happened at the store? What if I told you in 2013 Mr. Chow said someone tried to steal a beer out of his store, so he had to shoot at him? What if I told you in 2015 that Mr. Chow fired 6 shots into a car as it was driving away because somebody in the car stole a beer? Yeah, he didn't call the cops. He just shot in the car. No arrest. Then in 2018, Mr. Chow did the same thing. This time he shot somebody in the leg. So in 2018, it happened again. 3 times. This time, he shot the guy. Shot him in his leg over $6 worth of merchandise. So first he shoots and misses, then he shoots in the car, could have killed multiple people, and third, he shoots somebody in the leg, and then we are here today in 2023. That's when this case took place. In 2023, he shot Cyrus. Cyrus fled, shot him in the back. Yeah, he was so afraid for his son's life, he shot a man in the back. I'm sorry, he shot a boy in the back. And that's considered justice. And for that, we have conservatives defending it. One thing is very consistent about all the stories I just told you about Rick. He's not just a storekeeper. That guy's a hunter. That guy's a predator. He preys on customers. Look at the track record. And each time he shot, there were people trying to get away from him. Why? Because he was the one armed. He was the aggressor in each altercation. I don't have any stories of people attacking Mr. Chow, only Mr. Chow attacking others. Over what? $6 in one case, a beer in another case, another story, and then finally, a single bottle of water that he was wrong about that the young man didn't even have. And now the young man doesn't have his own life. The judge granted the defense's request to suppress the evidence. And we got to wonder why they did that. Oh, we don't want to impartial the jury. We don't want to influence the jury with prior information that has nothing to do with that particular day. But it does have something to do with that day because it shows a pattern of the same activity by the same guy. Why is it that this guy keeps having to shoot at people? Does he have to shoot these people? But see, if you introduce that evidence and all of a sudden, this becomes a different story. Worse than that, if you don't let that evidence into the courtroom, you don't let jurors hear it, well then, we're operating in a fictional world. We're not operating in the reality of what's taking place when people come into Mr. Chow's store. They become under surveillance, watched like an eagle, and if anything is suspicious, they become hunted and shot at. So this narrative that poor Mr. Chow just trying to eke out a living does not paint the full picture of Mr. Chow. Mr. Chow is now a killer, and Mr. Chow been trying to kill for a while. I think Mr. Chow's an angry, son of a bitch who wanted to kill a black person. And I think he finally succeeded in killing someone. Because I don't care who you are, $6 or $3 water or whatever, $1.25, $1.50 water is not worth shooting a kid in the back who's running from you. And even if you think your son is in danger, you just say, come on, son, let him go. You don't shoot the kid who's running away from you, whose back is turned towards you. Maybe I feel a little bit different if the young man was turned towards him with the gun. But even then, I'd want to see the evidence. And that's the thing. There is no evidence. There is no surveillance footage of the altercation when they caught up with the young man. There is nothing. It's just a testimony, oh my goodness, of the Chows. And the jury brought it. Now, the worst part of this case is, of course, Cyrus Belton losing his life. But the other horrible thing about this case is the defense was handcuffed. The defense could not testify. They could not bring in the evidence. The fact that police had warned Mr. Chow that his use of his gun was excessive, that his altercations with customers was excessive, but they couldn't bring it in unless the prosecution or unless the defense effed up and brought it in themselves. Because that's how our legal system works. Somehow the defense would have to accidentally open the door, which would allow the prosecution to bring in the evidence. And since they didn't screw up, well, justice gets screwed over. Self-defense requires the threat of imminent death. What about self-defense requiring that the person who's claiming self-defense wasn't a trigger-happy maniac who shoots people over minor property disputes? What about that part? I think that's an important element to determine if somebody's truly fighting for their lives or just doing what they like doing, which is shooting at people, hunting people down. They chased this boy for over a football field length and then said they were afraid of him. This shit sounds just like Ahmaud Arbery, doesn't it? But that story turned out a little different. This sounds like Latasha Harlins. And this story turned out the same, didn't it? What's different than the Ahmaud Arbery story in this one? Oh, I know what. The model minority? That different? See, the way I see this, and I know, I may not be a lawyer, but I can tell you how I see it. If you leave your store to chase a 14-year-old over a bottle of water he didn't even have, you chase him for 130 yards, longer than a football field, you're the aggressor, sir, not the young man who ran away from you. In fact, remember, Mr. Chow was running with a gun in his hand. You know what I think? And this is just my opinion. I think Mr. Chow slept like a baby after that, too. Hell, he might even got off on it. I know that sounds horrible, doesn't it? I believe Mr. Chow's a horrible individual. That's what I believe. He's a killer, that's for sure. That's not what I believe, that's what I know. That's what the court decided. But they decided it was justified. Why? Because he was afraid. Only thing left now is a civil case. To me, a civil case is bullshit. A civil case gives money, but it won't bring the young man back. In fact, even the people that say, oh, Cyrus had a gun, what difference does that make? Now, the young man was not a threat. The threat was Mr. Chow. The same threat who shot at someone in 2013 and 2015. Same guy. And 2018. Same guy. Same fucking guy. Let me ask this. should someone's personal history of escalation or excessive violence be considered when they make a claim of self-defense? Or should that be off limits because it didn't happen at that moment? What I'm saying is, when you claim self-defense, do you open yourself up to being viewed in similar circumstances and how you conducted yourself? Or should we only look at the moment to determine if that second was self-defense? See, I think pattern recognition recognizes recklessness. And in this case, would recognize a fucking predator, a hunter of humans. Let me know what y'all think in the comments section below. My condolences to the family, to the Belton family. They lost their son, and I'm sure you're going to win your civil suit, and I'm also sure it will not bring your son back. And for that, I truly am sorry. The only thing that bothers me more about Mr. Chow walking, being free, is that he still has a store that we go to. And we somehow keep patronizing people that hate us and hate our children. We're all responsible for this. Black America, wake up. They don't like us, they don't love us, and they don't even see us as human beings.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.